There is a law written into the very fabric of success. You must carry yourself with the conviction that loss is impossible. The world bends, not to those who beg, but to those who command with the certainty of their vision. To act as if you cannot lose is to awaken a force inside you that refuses to acknowledge defeat. When a man or woman decides with absolute belief, that belief becomes a magnet. The unseen power of confidence draws opportunity, people, and circumstances into alignment. If you walk into life expecting to stumble, your very expectation prepares the fall. But if you walk with the stride of victory, even the ground beneath you rises to meet your steps. Imagination is the seed. See yourself victorious long before the world sees it. In your mind's eye, live in the reality of achievement before it has materialized. That inner movie becomes the script for your destiny, and when combined with persistence, nothing can uproot it. There will be obstacles, there will be delays, but they are not signals of defeat. They are the refining fires through which your conviction is tested. Each obstacle whispers, "Do you still believe you cannot lose?" If your answer is yes, then every stumbling block becomes a stepping stone. Guard your thoughts. They are the architects of your tomorrow. Doubt poisons destiny, but faith turns desire into power. By choosing belief over fear, you write the future with your own pen. So act now. Walk, speak, and live as if you cannot lose. Carry yourself with the boldness of victory. For when the world sees a person who has already claimed success in their spirit, it has no choice but to yield and deliver the reality. Remember this truth. Defeat only exists in the minds of those who accept it. Victory belongs to those who refuse to consider anything else. Definite belief creates definite results. This truth is the bedrock of every triumph mankind has ever achieved. No great achievement was ever born from doubt, hesitation, or half-hearted conviction. Every tower that touches the sky, every invention that transformed the world, every fortune that has been built began not with chance, but with an unshakable belief in its possibility. Belief is the seed, and results are the harvest. When a man believes beyond doubt, he awakens a force within himself that moves mountains. The world does not bend for the uncertain, but it opens its doors for the one who carries absolute conviction. You must understand this. Belief is not a weak wish. It is not the faint hope of a timid dreamer. Belief is fire. It is the energy that ignites persistence, fuels imagination, and transforms desire into reality. The one who believes with certainty cannot be stopped by obstacles, because in his mind the victory has already been secured. History is filled with men and women who dared to believe in what the world called impossible. They were laughed at, mocked, resisted, but their belief did not waver. Why? Because their minds were already living in the world they envisioned. The body only followed what the mind had already conquered. This is why you must train yourself to believe with such intensity that failure becomes invisible and defeat loses its power. Doubt is poison. It creeps into the mind, whispering reasons why you cannot succeed, why the path is too difficult, why the goal is too high. But belief silences doubt. Belief says, "I will find a way, and if there is no way, I will create one." It is this kind of certainty that separates the victors from the victims. The one who believes with clarity may stumble, but he rises with greater strength. He may face delays, but every delay becomes preparation for a greater result. You must learn to act as though success is already yours. Speak with conviction. Walk with confidence. Carry yourself as if your goal is not a distant possibility, but a present reality waiting to unfold. This posture of belief attracts people, opportunities, and resources to you. The world cannot resist a man or woman who radiates the certainty of victory. You have seen this before. The athlete who steps onto the field with the unshakable look of a champion. The entrepreneur who speaks of their vision as if it already exists. The leader who moves nations with the fire of conviction in their voice. They are not lucky. They are believers. Belief alone, however, is not idle. True belief inspires action. When you truly believe you cannot fail, you take bold steps, you risk more, you persevere longer. Hesitation dies in the presence of certainty. You do not wait for the perfect moment. You create the moment. You do not shrink before obstacles. You rise taller than them. Belief is not passive. It is alive. It is movement. It is energy in motion. So decide today to remove the shackles of doubt. Stop entertaining the thoughts that weaken your spirit. Feed your mind with images of your success, words of affirmation and faith in the unseen. Train yourself daily to see the end result before it appears. When your mind is saturated with certainty, your actions will align, your words will carry power, and your results will be inevitable. Definite belief creates definite results. This is the law. No man can rise higher than the vision he holds in his heart, and no man can be defeated if his belief is strong enough to persist against every storm. Believe without hesitation. Believe without compromise. Believe as if your success has already been written into the fabric of time, and you will find that the world itself will deliver what your mind has claimed. Imagination is the blueprint of victory. Before any dream is realized in the physical world, it is first constructed in the workshop of the mind. Every bridge that spans a river, every invention that transforms society, every triumph that changed the course of history began as a picture in the imagination of one who dared to see beyond what was. The imagination is not fantasy. It is the architect's table where destiny is drawn. Without it, there can be no design, no direction, and no vision of victory. Greatness does not begin in the hands. It begins in the mind. A soldier does not win a battle the moment he steps on the field. He wins it long before in the private rehearsal of his imagination where strategy, courage, and outcome are envisioned. The athlete does not break records by chance. He has already run the race 1,000 times in his mind, feeling the rush of victory before the world applauds it. The business leader does not build an empire by accident. He has walked its halls, counted its profits, and celebrated its success in the secret chambers of imagination. Imagination is the seed from which all achievement grows. Those who fear to use it remain chained to the ordinary. They only see what is, and therefore they only live within what is. But those who dare to picture what does not yet exist, those who hold a vision so vivid it burns in their souls, they are the builders of the impossible. They are the ones who transform deserts into cities, problems into opportunities, and failure into stepping stones. The mind is the most powerful workshop known to man. What you design there becomes the foundation of what you live. If you fill it with limitations, you build walls around your potential. If you fill it with pictures of greatness, you lay down the blueprint for a palace of achievement. That is why every successful person has first been a dreamer, a visionary, an architect of the unseen. Imagination must not be idle daydreaming. It must be purposeful vision. To imagine victory is not to merely wish for it, but to construct it with detail and passion until it feels more real than the circumstances around you. When you hold that image with persistence, your actions align, your speech strengthens, your steps grow bolder. You begin to live as though the vision is already true, and in time reality bows to the blueprint you have drawn. Consider the power of a mind that refuses to be limited. Every advancement in human history, flying through the skies, speaking across oceans, curing diseases, was once considered madness until someone dared to imagine it possible. They did not borrow their vision from reality. They forced reality to borrow from their vision. The future belongs to those who imagine it first. There will be critics, there will be doubters, and there will be obstacles. But none of them can erase the image held tightly in the mind of one who believes. Imagination fuels persistence, because the clearer the picture of victory, the harder it is to surrender. You cannot give up on a dream you have already lived in your spirit 1,000 times. So I say to you, guard your imagination, sharpen it, feed it with faith and desire. See your success before the world sees it. Build your victory in the invisible before you demand it in the visible. Let your imagination be your blueprint, and then build upon it with courage, persistence, and belief. Imagination is the blueprint of victory. The life you seek, the triumph you desire, the destiny you are called to fulfill, it all begins in the picture you dare to hold within your mind. Draw it boldly, nurture it daily, and never let it go. For the one who masters imagination masters destiny itself. Faith transforms desire into power. A mere desire without faith is like a spark without fuel. It flickers for a moment and dies in the winds of doubt. But when desire is joined with faith, it becomes an unstoppable blaze that consumes obstacles, fuels persistence, and draws opportunities into reality. Faith is the invisible bridge that carries you from the land of wishing into the realm of having. It is the unseen force that turns a fragile hope into a living certainty. Desire alone whispers, "I want." Faith declares, "It shall be." That declaration shifts the mind, quickens the spirit, and empowers the body to act with boldness. The man who desires wealth but does not believe it possible will remain chained by his circumstances. But the man who couples desire with faith speaks to himself with conviction, walks with assurance, and labors with the expectation that the result is already secured. Faith is the transformer that gives shape, life, and energy to the raw material of desire. Think of every achievement mankind has recorded. Behind it stood a desire so strong that it could not be ignored, yet desire alone would not have been enough. There had to be faith, faith that the unseen could be made seen, faith that the impossible could bend, faith that the mountain would yield to persistence. Without faith, desire becomes frustration. With faith, desire becomes power, and power creates reality. Faith is not a blind wish. It is a mental discipline. It is training the mind to see the end before it arrives, to believe in the unseen with the same confidence as if it were already here. When faith saturates the heart, hesitation dissolves. Action becomes natural. Obstacles lose their terror. The believer no longer asks, "Will it happen?" He declares, "It is already mine." That shift is the alchemy that turns desire into power. The difference between those who quit and those who conquer is often the presence of faith. The quitter had desire, but his desire was weak, unguarded, and easily crushed. The conqueror also had desire, but he armed it with faith. Every time he was struck down, faith lifted him back to his feet. Every time doubt knocked at his door, faith answered with certainty. It was not the size of his resources that gave him victory. It was the size of his belief. Faith also attracts the means by which desire is fulfilled. When you believe strongly enough, your mind begins to notice possibilities that were always there but hidden from your sight. Faith sharpens vision, tunes perception, and draws to you the people, ideas, and circumstances necessary for your success. You call it coincidence, but it is the natural law of faith creating alignment between your inner world and your outer world. So what must you do? You must take your deepest desire and clothe it with faith. See it so clearly that it burns in your heart. Speak of it not as something distant, but as something near. Train your mind each day to affirm that it is possible, it is real, and it is coming into form. Let no doubt take root. Protect your faith as a soldier protects his shield, for it is your defense against every arrow of fear and disbelief. Faith transforms desire into power, and when power is born, nothing can stand in its way. Your task is not only to desire, but to believe so completely that desire becomes energy, and energy becomes action, and action becomes destiny. The world does not yield to faint wishes. It yields to burning desire powered by unshakable faith. Persistence is the fire of achievement. Desire begins the journey. Faith fuels the vision, but persistence is the burning force that carries you through storms, delays, and trials until victory is won. Without persistence, the dream dies at the first obstacle. Without persistence, faith cools, desire fades, and imagination shrinks back into shadows. Persistence is the flame that keeps the vision alive when all else seems lost. Every great success story is, at its core, a tale of persistence. The world remembers the shining moment of triumph, but it often forgets the long nights of struggle, the countless failures, the rejections, the disappointments. Yet it was persistence that refused to let those defeats define the end. Persistence said, "This is only temporary. I will rise again. I will continue until the result I seek is mine." That relentless spirit is the secret thread woven into every story of greatness. Obstacles are not signals to stop. They are tests to measure how deeply you desire your goal. The one who quits at the first difficulty never truly wanted success, he only wished for it. But the one who persists proves his desire is real, his faith is alive, and his imagination is more powerful than any setback. Persistence transforms stumbling blocks into stepping stones, delays into preparation, and defeats into lessons that sharpen the sword of success. Persistence is not glamorous. It does not always shout with excitement or shine with glory. Persistence often looks like showing up when no one notices, working while others sleep, continuing when others quit. It is the quiet determination to rise each day and do what must be done, even when progress feels invisible. Yet this quiet fire builds unstoppable momentum. One step repeated long enough carves a path through any mountain. Failure only becomes permanent when persistence ends. History is filled with men and women who faced defeat dozens, even hundreds of times, yet pressed forward with unyielding spirit. Each failure was not a wall, but a doorway disguised, waiting for the persistence of the seeker to open it. The world has never denied the prize to the one who refused to stop moving toward it. Persistence also strengthens character. It builds resilience, sharpens focus, and creates an inner toughness that nothing can break. The persistent man learns patience, discipline, and resourcefulness, for he has walked through the fire and discovered his true strength. He becomes not only the master of his craft, but the master of himself. And self-mastery is the highest form of achievement. You must learn to keep your fire burning. Doubt will try to quench it, delay will attempt to smother it, fear will whisper, "It is hopeless," but persistence roars back, "I will not quit." Each time you continue, your flame grows brighter until nothing can extinguish it. Success bends to the persistent because persistence never accepts anything less. So let persistence be your companion on the journey to greatness. Let it carry you when enthusiasm fades, when results seem far, when others abandon the path. Remind yourself daily that every step forward, no matter how small, feeds the fire. Keep striking, keep pushing, keep believing, and keep moving, for persistence is the fire of achievement. And with it burning in your spirit, no power on earth can keep you from the victory that belongs to you. Controlled mind, controlled destiny. This is a law as unshakable as gravity itself. The mind is the master power that shapes, directs, and determines the course of your life. If your mind is scattered, your destiny will be scattered. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and confusion, your destiny will reflect the same. But when the mind is disciplined, focused, and harnessed with purpose, destiny unfolds with clarity and power. Your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror of the world within you. If chaos rules your inner world, chaos will spill into your outer world. But if order, faith, and determination rule your thoughts, your outer world will align to match it. This is why the greatest task you face is not conquering others, but conquering yourself. The man who masters his own thoughts has already mastered his future. Every action you take is born from thought. Every achievement begins in the imagination and is nourished in the soil of focus. Yet many allow their minds to drift like a ship without a captain, tossed by the waves of circumstance, gossip, and fear. Such a person has surrendered their destiny to chance. But the one who takes hold of his mind, who directs it toward definite purpose, becomes a commander of his fate. He is no longer a victim of environment. He becomes the architect of his world. Discipline is the tool by which the mind is controlled. You must guard what enters it, for thoughts are seeds, and every seed grows into fruit. If you allow the seeds of doubt, anger, and limitation to take root, they will yield a harvest of defeat. But if you sow faith, courage, and vision into the mind, you will reap victory, prosperity, and fulfillment. The garden of the mind must be tended daily. Neglect it, and weeds of negativity will overrun it. Care for it, and it will become the most fertile ground for success. A controlled mind does not mean a narrow mind. It means a directed mind. It means you decide where your attention goes, you choose the thoughts you dwell upon, and you focus your energy on the future you desire. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. The one who wastes his mind on trivial things cannot hope to build a life of greatness. But the one who keeps his mind steady on his purpose will find that circumstances, people, and opportunities begin to align in his favor. Control of the mind also requires emotional mastery. Fear, anger, and doubt are storms that can destroy even the strongest ship, but calm, courage, and faith are winds that carry you forward. When your mind is steady, your emotions cannot overthrow you, and your decisions remain strong. The man who controls his reactions is greater than the one who conquers cities, for he governs the most powerful kingdom, his own mind. So discipline your thinking. Guard it with vigilance. Direct it with purpose. Feed it with faith and imagination. Refuse to let negativity or fear dominate it, for when your mind is controlled, your destiny is assured. Nothing outside of you can enslave you if your inner world is free and focused. Controlled mind, controlled destiny. This is the key to power, prosperity, and peace. Master your mind and you master your future. Acting as if already victorious is the secret posture of greatness. The world does not yield to the timid or the doubtful. It yields to the man or woman who carries themselves with the certainty of triumph. When you act as if you cannot lose, you awaken a force within that bends circumstances, people, and events in your favor. Victory is not something that arrives suddenly at the end of the journey. It is something you wear, breathe, and embody from the very beginning. Every champion has won long before the world declared them so. The soldier marches into battle with victory already carved into his spirit. The athlete steps into the arena as if the trophy already rests in his hands. The leader speaks to nations with the authority of destiny already fulfilled. They do not wait for applause to validate them. Their posture, their tone, and their certainty create a victory before others can see it. This principle is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you carry yourself as if you are already victorious, you align your thoughts, words, and actions with the reality you seek. Doubt is paralyzed, fear is silenced, and hesitation is destroyed. You do not wait for perfect conditions. You move with boldness because you know the outcome is already secure in your mind and spirit. And what you believe with conviction you attract into reality. Acting as if already victorious transforms the atmosphere around you. People are drawn to confidence. Opportunities seek out certainty. The world responds to strength. When you speak with faith, walk with assurance, and work with determination, you create a magnetic field that pulls resources, allies, and solutions into your path. Victory is attracted to those who act like it belongs to them. This posture also gives resilience in the face of setbacks. The one who already sees himself as victorious cannot be broken by temporary defeat. He views obstacles as passing tests, not final verdicts. He says, "This cannot stop me, for I have already claimed the prize." That spirit keeps him standing when others fall, moving when others freeze, and believing when others quit. To act victorious is to live in advance. It is to train your emotions, your habits, and your energy to match the life you are building. If you want to succeed, you cannot carry yourself like one who expects to fail. If you want to prosper, you cannot walk with the body language of defeat. You must radiate the confidence of a winner, not someday, but today, for it is today's attitude that writes tomorrow's results. This way of living is not about pretending, it is about becoming. You become victorious because you refuse to entertain the idea of defeat. You embody the outcome you desire until the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The mind commands, the body follows, and reality aligns. So rise each day as though you have already won. Speak with authority, walk with certainty, and work with discipline. Let every movement, every word, and every choice announce to the world, "I am already victorious." The more you live in that spirit, the more victory becomes inevitable. Acting as if already victorious is not a game, it is a law. What you embody, you attract. What you live, you create. Carry yourself as if the triumph is already yours, and soon enough the world will confirm what your spirit already knew.